Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another 3 questions in 3 minutes with our real estate and development power players. I am joined today by Dana Getman, a principal at SHoP Architects. Dana has worked on projects like the East River Waterfront and Essex Crossing and is particularly interested in community-centered development, community-centered architecture. So, can I talk to you a little bit more about this idea of community-centered architecture? Because you've also spoken about approaching neighborhoods like ecosystems, which I love, and I think that's beautiful, evocative language. So, could you talk a little bit more about what you mean by that and what community centered architecture looks like?
Well, it's something that's really critical to all of our work, but especially some of the larger scale master planning work we've done. And a complete neighborhood. There's the physical space, so the streets, the parks, the buildings, but there's other layers. There's the programmatic, the residential, the retail, the office spaces, the parks, and you know as in nature, the more diverse an ecosystem is, the more sustainable and resilient it is. And similarly with our neighborhoods, those diverse places where you have all of those mixing and of people, places, and things that really come together and create vibrancy. So those are the kind of places we like to work in and also like to help create.
So, I know that both of your parents were architects, so you got into it early. You had an in. But is there a particular architect that spoke to you throughout your training? Maybe that you came into close contact with, or a mentor, someone who really inspired you?
Well, one of my professors, when I was in an urban design studio, was Fred Coder, and he was teaching with Edward Mitchell in graduate school at Yale. And I was like so focused on like solving all the problems, and at the end of like 2 days before the final review, it's like, what is it like to be in this space? Like you figured out all the details, like it's gonna work, it's fine. But like, what is that feeling, and put us in that experience of the space? And that's something that I've really taken with me from that moment on, especially in thinking about how we build for communities. Yes, it needs to work. Yes, it needs to come in on budget. But what is the experience that we're creating for the people of our cities, and how do we create places that people love?
Yeah, that's so important to stay grounded, right? I think it can be easy to get lost maybe in the details or the plans, but to always come back to the space and how people are gonna use it. So is there a project that you're working on right now that you're very excited for?
We're able to take some of the lessons in mixed use community building we've built here in New York and thinking about in other places. So we're working on a mixed use master plan office and residential and communities space in Los Angeles, which is my hometown. So I'm really excited to do that. And we're working with Lendlease, so a progressive developer who really wants to be at the forefront, in how we build and sustainable communities, sustainable buildings. And similarly, working on another project, mixed use community development in Denver with Urban Villages, another developer who's really grounded in place and cares about, really focused on the future of the city, and in particular that neighborhood, and how this project can be a catalyst for the next generation.
Thank you so much, Dana, for taking the time and for being a real estate and development power player.
Great. Thank you, Anna.